I'm Roger.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome to another episode of RC Street Shop's how-to videos.
Feels like we just did one of these.
Well, you know.
We did them back to back. They don't know that, though.
Yeah.
What are we going to be how-toing today?
Today we're going to how-to installing LED lights.
I'm going to guess Roger got himself a rock crawler because I think we're about to see a ton of rock crawling content.
Well, you know, we're going to see a lot of content based on Roger's SCX-10.
There you go, exactly. So you just got this about a week ago, right?
Yep.
This is actually the one we featured in the video about this a couple months ago.
It's been sitting here that long.
Sitting here collecting dust.
And I remember on the video I said, I really like this truck. Why did I get enough to now I own it?
And there you go.
So
you're going to be using this as the basis for a bunch of different projects. Not only are you going to be playing with it in your own personal time, but we're going to do some stuff with it here on camera. So today, we are how-toing what exactly?
LED light install.
LED light install.
Don't worry that this is a rock crawler. This is going to apply to your drift cars, your anything that you want to put lights on. Really briefly, we're going to discuss just the different ways you can put lights on. This truck here, we're going to do a real simple way. We're going to use all of Axial's equipment, which makes it real plug and play. Yeah. And it makes it simple for what I personally want to do. But like I said, we'll go over some other stuff too. That will cover other vehicles.
More of a general knowledge.
Right. Right.
But there are still going to be some tools, I presume, we're going to need.
Oh yeah, and some knowledge that will be useful to you.
Exactly. So, you know, if you've been thinking about adding lights, this is going to be the video for you.
And if you do have an SCX-10, then it'll be super
easy to play along.
Right.
So let's ask that question. What will folks need in order to play along?
If you want to play along exactly what we're doing right now, you're going to need a metric hex driver set, and that is about it. We did some things before to make this easier, to make it go quicker. I cut the bumper off of this because we have a new bumper. And I disassembled the battery tray on the SCX-10. The radio box is underneath the battery tray. Okay. So we disassembled that stuff. We've got it all right here.
All right.
Because you don't want to watch me disassemble a battery tray if you want to learn how to do LED lights. Really quick, when it comes to putting LED lights in, there's a few ways of doing it. You can do it the way we did it, where we bought an existing light controller. We have the 3-port high output LED one for ours because we have 8 LED lights in the front end. The standard Axial light controller won't handle 8 LEDs, so we had to get the high power one. This is just a 8 light kit. We have 2 4-light kits for our setup. This is an example of just a plug and play Traxxas setup. This has double-sided tape on it. You can just pretty much put this onto any body and plug it into the receiver. Here is Axial's awesome Rigid Industries light bar set, which includes everything you could possibly want to do.
Yeah, this is a slick looking light bar set.
It really is cool. We use that on our truck, and it's, like I said, the mounting options they have for you. You can put this light kit onto anything you want to, whether it be a drift car or a rock crawler or a monster truck. There's really an endless number of options with this kit to put these rigid light bars in, and they're super cool the way they go together. Yeah, super cool. What these are here, these are LED holders. 2 different styles of LED holders. And if you have a Lexan body, like this body in particular has a set of light buckets cast or molded in the back. But it doesn't have the precisions to add the lights to it. So what you would do, you would drill a hole in it and then add this and screw these in. And these would go in there to hold your LED lights in.
All right.
So if you want to add LED lights where they're not meant to be, this is how you do it.
You do something like that.
This is
sort of the deluxe kit we sell in the store.
It is, and this is what you would get is you get this little light controller which plugs into your receiver, and underneath it there is a ton of lights. Yeah, here, so
yeah, like a whole gazillion package of lights.
Right. And this flashes and does turn signals and brake lights, programmable, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, the folks that are really into like tweaking out their drift cars, like realistic.
Exactly.
This is what they tend to use.
Right, exactly. And so this is just we wanted to go over some different stuff. We have a simple install for you today. Like I said, real good information for us. Now, we're going to start by taking the body off the truck. Now, first thing you want to do is hook everything up and make sure it works.
Okay.
So we're going to pop the...
So show me specifically, what are we going to be working on getting wired in?
Okay, so we have this Axial plate style front bumper. We have the Rigid Industries axial top light. We have these Pia amber lights, and then this has a spot for LEDs on the side. So we'll have a total of 8 LEDs, 2 4-light strip kits, and then we're going to mount this on the front. Run the wires so they're not going to get caught up in anything.
All right.
And we're also going to show you how to install wires. So the Rigid Industries, this setup here from Axial is a really clever setup because the LED holder and the back of the light, it's all built into one thing, and one screw just kind of, it all screws together, and just it's really neat. Anyway, that's not normally how LED stuff goes together. It's usually not that easy.
Gotcha. Normally
you have just a hole like this, and you have a light holder that screws into the back.
Okay.
And this is how 99% of LED setups work.
Gotcha.
So that's why I'm saying, even though you don't have a crawler or this exact setup, it's still going to be good information for you.
Gotcha.
So let's go about installing the lights into the bumper. Now you have to be very particular about, first thing we're going to do is we're going to install the lights into the bumper. Our lights are going pretty far apart, so we want to make sure we get the right lights into the right spot here without overextending them or pulling the wires out. And since I did this before we filmed it, I know which ones go where.
You know what goes where.
So it won't be that difficult.
Cheated a little bit.
I did cheat a little bit. Now, that doesn't want to go in. Well, anyway, so.
Why doesn't that want to go in?
Well, the LED holder will hold it in place.
Ah, gotcha.
So let's start with that guy. So LED holder has a little slot in it for the wires. So you put the wires through here. So this isn't going to be easy for you guys to see because it's such small stuff, but then you put the wire in, you turn this down, hopefully you guys can see this, and then we get a screw and we screw it down. Sorry.
Okay.
Now there it is in there. Our LED is in there.
All right.
And we're just going to repeat this 4 times. Now we're screwing this into plastic. Most of the time you're doing this, you're screwing it into plastic. Notice I don't have the ratchet hooked up. You don't need that kind of turning torque.
Gotcha.
You know, you're just going to end up stripping it out if you do that without it. Okay, now we have our LED lights installed.
All right.
So as you can see here, you've essentially just got 2 strands of wires coming off of here. Now you gotta move over the truck because, as you guys hopefully you know, these need power.
Yes, they do.
They don't just work off of magic.
They don't work off of magic?
Electricity magic.
Okay, no electricity magic.
So I'm gonna pull our receiver box open. Now this is the most common way of powering these is through the receiver box. You can also do like a battery pack, but that adds a lot of weight, and then if you crash, a lot of times if you do a battery pack, no matter how you attach it, the battery pack goes flying off when you crash, rips your whole lighting setup apart, and then all the work you did is then
wasted,
right.
Gotcha.
So now like I said, we're kind of cheating on this. We're using an Axial heavy duty light kit, which has ports on for their plug-in lights. But if you were having LEDs that just plug right into a receiver box, it'd be the same thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to, now remember, 3 pins on the receiver: signal, power, and ground. So ground is always on the outside to the right. So you want to hook this up to power and ground, which means you're going to hook this up to the battery channel. Also, if you're going to hook up lights, make sure you have at least a 3-channel receiver.
Okay.
If you don't, you may not have a spot to plug your lights in.
Yeah.
So, most 2-channel receivers have a battery plug for nitro cars. That's a perfectly fine spot to plug your power into.
It'll give it the power it needs.
Right,
It.
exactly, exactly. So, we've plugged our LED controller in. Now let's try this out, make sure everything works. Because last thing you want to do is go through the entire installation.
And then find out, oh, everything's backwards. Or,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, plug that in. Grab our LiPo battery. Plug it into the truck. And hit the switch. And voila! We've got working lights.
Nice.
So,
it's going to look so fancy.
I know, right?
That's impressive.
Now what we got to figure out is where are we going to put all these wires?
Yes, this is the challenge, just running the wires.
Now, with the SCX10, and those of you who are following along with an SCX10, the SCX10 has a big radio box. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the light controller and the majority of the wires inside the radio box.
Because there's lots of room in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of room in there, and a small receiver. So, tips for running wires. Keep them away from stuff that's rotating.
Yes.
Stuff that rotating loves to grab wires and pull them apart or shred them or ruin them and do all of the above. And you'll be driving your car around and all of a sudden you'll yank the LED wire out of it or they'll just turn off and you'll be like, what the heck happened? And you're looking at it and go, oh, it's been rubbing on the axle for the last 3 batteries and now the entire setup is, or it can short out against metal and burn your receiver up. Lots of bad can happen. So let's unplug these. Let's turn our truck off first.
Yep.
Unplug our battery. The tip, always unplug your LiPo battery. Let's figure out a way to put this in here and still be able to run the wires. Now since we're going to install this, since we're running the wires now, we might as well install our bumper.
Which just slides in.
Yep. And,
and obviously because it was made by Axial, they have a whole little spot where that's already waiting.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. Very clever way. You want to make sure our tires don't rub it good. This bumper will allow us to bump into things and go up them without the body going making all kinds of noise and getting in the way. And it gives us a place to mount our lights.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run these on here, around the antenna, and into the radio box. And plug them in. We're going to kind of squish everything in there because we're professional like that. And screw our radio box in. Make sure that we aren't pinching any wires. It's almost as if they expected you to put lights on this truck.
Mm-hmm.
Now, quick side note, I don't really want an on-off switch, so I chose this setup. And I also didn't want to add lights to the body because I don't want to have to deal with pulling the body off and having lights attached to it.
Okay.
So I don't want to, I want the ease of lights on the chassis.
Yeah.
And that is essentially it. If you were to add an on-off switch to that, you could do that.
And that would go where? Like after?
It would be part of the light controller probably. Yeah. And you would end up mounting the light controller outside of the receiver box. Or a clever way to do it is a lot of people will run wires. What you do is you say this is going in the front. You would just use tape and then just run them where you can't see them.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And just tape them, and then you would like usually light controllers aren't heavy, so you could mount to the top here or against the back of the wall.
Double-sided tape.
Right. Here we
That's
go.
it. So that's the basics, you know. So really, you know, is knowing where you're going to be drawing your power from, and you know, running your lights. Now, obviously, you don't have to worry about nothing's going to get really caught.
No, actually, I was just going to mention that.
Okay.
You might see these lights; these are loose wires, but the difference is, or what's important here is that the servo may touch it occasionally, but there's nothing rotating near it.
Yeah.
So the chances of this getting caught up in the servo are almost zero. I mean, even at full tilt, it's not going to pull the wires into anything. So now if we ran them underneath, then you might run into some issues because you can drag on the ground.
Gotcha.
As long as we don't have much slack here, we're good, because the battery tray is going to go on top of here, and it's going to pretty much keep the wires where they are.
Okay. All right. Let's see. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being easy, 10 being the hardest, how would you rate this?
I would say the setup we did here is probably like a 3 or a 4.
Yeah,
not too bad.
No, not at all. Actually.
If you're going to go with a really totally custom setup, where you're going to be doing lights like headlights and things like that, where you're drilling holes, you're probably looking at something that's more of a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, because and that will be as difficult or as time consuming as you are, with your attention to detail.
Right.
Like how focused you need.
How detail oriented are you?
How focused.
How much of a perfectionist are you?
There you go. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Perfectionist.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. See, like I had to cut the body on this. I'm not much of a perfectionist, so I did that and went, "Wow, that's the straightest Lexan cut I've ever done." So I was impressed. Some of you will look at that and go, "Good God, he's a hack." So
maybe.
To each his own.
Yeah. But whatever works.
Right.
Now, why is doing this important?
Well, because lights are cool. I have been excited about this video since I got this truck.
He has been. He's been talking about it for 2 days.
Lights are awesome.
Obviously, it's not a must-do.
No, definitely not.
Cool. Although, if you want to drive your car at night,
definitely
do not underestimate the real-world practical value of having good, strong LEDs in the front of the vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
It makes driving at night completely real and doable.
Right. And it doesn't just help you out by lighting up what's in front of you. It also allows you to see the car from way far away.
You can get a much better orientation of where it's
Yeah, you can see the car from 400 or 500 feet easily because LEDs are so bright.
Very much so.
And then also if you do taillights, you can see front to back, so you can get your orientation right.
And then you can set up the controller so it'll do turn signals.
Exactly.
You turn right.
Now
right
you're getting
signal.
fancy.
Yeah.
See, now you're getting fancy.
But Axial has that stuff available, so
yeah, definitely.
Pretty cool. Let's see. If folks are interested in LED light kits, and they come in all the time,
They do.
They do. They really do. We sell a lot of these.
Yeah,
we really do. And not just RC people. A lot of the robotics students at the local college
come in for LEDs.
Come in for this stuff all the time too. So, if folks are interested in this, is there somewhere they can come?
They sure can.
Where's that?
RC Street Shop. 5521 East Spring Street, Long Beach, California, 90808.
And if you're geographically challenged and you can't physically come to the store, we understand it happens. We, of course, would like to see you if you are in the area and come in. But if you can't, you are welcome to give us a call. Roger, what's the number so I can call and talk to you on the phone?
Don't you know it by now?
No, well, maybe I do, but it's not my job to say it in the video.
It's 562-425-9000.
There you go. And if speaking words into a phone is just too much social pressure for you, you can send us an email. That's fine. info@rcstreetshop.com. We are also doing the social media thing. We are on Twitter, RC Street Shop, one word there. Facebook, RC Street Shop, 3 separate words. Got a page there. I hear we're doing the Instagram thing.
What?
RC Street Shop there. Just follow, like, keep up,
right?
Do whatever. We're also doing the YouTube thing, but you know that. You're watching this video and you made it this far. We appreciate it. We love you for it. We'd like it if you liked the video, but more importantly, subscribe! Hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate it. Tell your friends. Let them know we're doing this. And you know someone who's doing LEDs. You're like, hey, check out this video. They gave you some good basic knowledge. Share it. We would appreciate it. See you next week.
Bye.